Welcome back. The leader of the Conservative Party, Kemi Badenoch, joins me now in the studio. Lovely to see you this morning. Can I just say we did ask other leaders. We asked Labour, Lib Dems and indeed Reform. You decided to come on, so
thank you.
All credit to you. Now, I know you've been up and down the length and breadth of the country. How's it looking? Because you're in expectation management mode, aren't you? You want to tell me that you're going to do very, 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 very badly on Thursday in a bid to look better.
No, what I'm telling people is that it's not an opinion poll, that this is about who's going to run local services. I've been, as you say, everywhere, Warwickshire, Gloucestershire, Oxfordshire, and I'm listening to what people on the doorsteps are saying. They are still very angry, but this time they're not angry with Conservatives, they're angry with Labour. Labour has let them down. They're very angry about the winter fuel payment. Every other doorstep, and it's not just pensioners, it's their children, their grandchildren are angry about it. And I'm telling them that this is a chance to send Labour a message. If you vote for other parties, Labour slips through the middle. You look at what's happened in Birmingham, rubbish all over the streets, not being collected, rats running around. And you have to vote Conservative because we deliver better services for lower taxes across the board.
Although the latest polling puts, this is the Spectator poll of polls, Reform on 25, Labour on 23, Tory on 22, Lib Dems on 14, Greens on 9. I mean, this whole third place thing, you are being outgunned by Farage. You have to admit that. And also he is cutting through, isn't he? Is this big personality on the front pages of the newspapers?
Well, I'm on the front pages of the newspapers too. But the thing is, people are in a protest mood right now. So protest parties do well this side of the electoral cycle. 4 years ago, Keir Starmer had a horrific election. That was when we were polling high, middle of the vaccine bounds. He was completely written off. Today, he is Prime Minister. So the elections shouldn't be used as an opinion poll. People should not vote for them in that way. I need to make sure that I fix my party. People are very disillusioned, and I'm letting them know that the Conservative Party is under new leadership. No more of what was happening in the past, no more of the infighting and all of the rows. It's the other parties who are having all these rows and infighting. But also reminding them that what we do is for them. It's not for us. We're delivering for the public.
This video is sponsored by Saily. Saily is a brand new eSIM service app. What it does is get you a local SIM card that you can use when you're travelling, so you don't have to pay those crazy roaming fees just to send a text back home. They've got eSIM plans in over 160 countries and 8 regions, so pretty much wherever you're going, they'll be able to make sure you're connected. So how does it work? Well, all you've got to do is hit our link in the description to download the app. It will work on iOS or Android. Buy a plan, you can choose the best time frame for you, and then just install the eSIM on your phone. When you land at your holiday destination, you can activate your plan instantly. Saily eSIMs only ever have to be installed once, so when you go on your next trip, you just buy a plan for a new country, turn that eSIM back on, and just like that, you could be watching the GB News YouTube channel. You can be connected anywhere you go, and you don't have to deal with patchy Wi-Fi in your hotels. So get sorted for your next trip by downloading Saily using the link in the description below, and if you use our code NEWS at checkout, you'll get an exclusive 15% discount on us.
I get that a week is a long time in politics and anything can change. Nigel Farage has put his chances of being the next Prime Minister at 45%. Where would you put your chances?
I don't speculate. I don't play guess the number. You know, he likes to talk about himself. I like to talk about what I want to do for the people of this country. Just get Britain moving again. Let's fix the things that aren't working.
All right, but you're saying it's a marathon and not a sprint. Probably a fitting term to use on today of all days. And good luck to all of those people running, mad as I consider them to be. But we have got the Scottish and the Welsh elections next year. So this idea that you're not in a hurry, you have to be in a hurry because, you know, at the end of the day, the Tories, as far as I can tell, are still facing somewhat of an existential crisis, aren't they?
We have been, we are in the aftermath of a historic defeat. We've never had so few MPs. Of course, it's going to take time. The last opposition was there 14 years, the one before that 13 years, the one before that 18 years. I've been leader 5.5 months, coming up to 6 months. You don't turn things around like that. And if things turn around quickly, be suspicious. It could be a flash in the pan. I am building solid foundations. Let's work out policy. When we've got the policy thought through, like indefinite leave to remain, we announce when we have a new change of direction, net zero is impossible, we come out and announce it. But I'm not just saying things to get on the front pages of the papers or to tell people what they want to hear. I'm telling them the truth.
The counter-argument to that is you're dragging your heels on policy. You were in power for 14 years. You must have worked out, for instance, what you're going to do about immigration. Got Farage coming out this week saying, right, this is what I'm going to do. I'll have a minister for deportations. We will leave the ECHR. We will scrap the Human Rights Act. Yeah. You might laugh. At least the voters know where they stand.
Yeah, but we already have a minister for deportations. We have a Home Secretary. They're the minister for deportations. This is what I'm talking about. Just saying things. Aren't people tired of just hearing people just talk rubbish? Our country is not a TV show.
With policy,
and I have said we are going to stop that conveyor belt to British citizenship. We had a big announcement on indefinite leave to remain. I talk about it every week, that people come to this country and immediately just get fast-tracked to citizenship via indefinite leave to remain. That's how we reduce the demand. I've talked about third country deterrence. We've got to get that Rwanda plan working. That's how we fix the boats. So we do have policies. But what I'm not going to do is treat our country like it's a TV show and say, hey, I'm going to have a minister for deportations. We already have that. Okay. That's the thing I'm talking about. Announcements are not plans. They're not policy. Policy is how you're going to do it, not just a headline in a newspaper.
All right, but will you consider some of these policies, leaving the ECHR, scrapping the Human Rights Act? Is that something that will be in your policy review?
They are already being reviewed. They're already being reviewed. But you can't just say it without knowing how you're going to do it. That's why it took so long to leave the EU after the vote, because people said we're going to do this thing and only started thinking about how to do it after the vote. That's not right.
OK. Starmer, you have said today in the Sunday Telegraph, you've written an op-ed for them, he's a coward with no moral core. This comes after you criticised him at Prime Minister's questions, basically saying he lacked balls. Do you regret those comments?
No. I don't
Some people said they were unparliamentarian.
I'm sure they do. They also say saying someone is telling a lie is unparliamentarian.
Well, are you calling him a liar?
I speak the truth. I think it is very clear that this is a man who doesn't know what he believes. But the thing that I found most astonishing was that he could not bring himself to apologise to or even acknowledge Rosie Duffield, the MP for Canterbury, hounded out of his party with his permission. He was one of those people who was rebuking her. Now the Supreme Court has said that people like me and her were right all along. The amount of abuse that I got from Labour MPs, you would not believe the things they said. So I don't have any sympathy for them right now.
Why don't you just nail your colours to the mast and say that he's a liar? He had previously said that a woman is a female adult. In addition to that, trans women are women.
Yes.
That's not just my view, he said. That is actually the law.
Yes.
And now his spokesman has come forward and said, oh, he always believed that
that is
woman
a lie.
Was so he's a liar.
That is a lie. That is a lie. There are lots of things he says at PMQs that are not true. I can't say that he's lying there, but I can say it now. There are many things, like the ones you've just described. I talked about it in Parliament the day before. He said 99.9% of women have a penis, so don't have a penis, so 1 in 1,000 do. Yep. I mean, this is just not common sense. And if somebody cannot bring themselves to speak the truth because they're worried about a mob here or their dinner party set there, then what other decisions are they making for the country? Look at what's happening with unemployment. It's rising. Taxes are rising. People are angry. I told you about winter fuel payments. They're angry about that jobs tax.
And
they're
yet
not
Labour
hiring
have
people.
got the waiting list down, they claim.
They claim that
50,000
They claim that they've got the waiting list down. But this is Labour just telling people things. Let's actually look at what is happening out there. No one is happy. I've been going all around the country. No one has said, oh, I'm really glad about what Labour is doing with the NHS. They're talking about how Labour is killing their businesses. I've been on about 3 farms this week. Family farms tax, actively destroying farms. And yet that's going to ruin our rural communities.
And yet you have now, we talked about earlier about a week being a long time in politics. A lot of the polling is now revealing that Tories have reclaimed their reputation for fiscal competence in the light of Rachel Reeves's rather unpopular budget. You're now seen as being comparatively more fiscally disciplined. And yet, I've got to be honest, I don't know anything about your economic policies. I don't really know what you stand for on the economy. Shouldn't you be hammering home this advantage a little stronger?
Honestly, that is what we are doing. I talk about the jobs tax constantly. I talk about the national insurance rise. We had a whole press conference on it 3 weeks ago.
What are your top 3 economic policies?
So on the economy, It's all about looking after business. It's not government that creates growth, it is business that creates
what
growth.
Would you scrap?
So, well, I said that we're going to scrap the family business tax that Labour has brought in, for example. But it's about creating a competitive environment. The employment rights bill that Labour's bringing in is going to be another nail in the coffin for businesses around the country.
So we're going to
oppose
that. Scrap corporation tax? It rose under the Conservatives. That was a massive mistake.
So, as I said, I'm not making policy on TV. There are certain things which I can say, but there are other things that need a very well thought through plan. I can't just say stuff on the back of an envelope.
What's your instinct, for instance, about the tax burden? It's way too high.
So the tax burden is way too high. That is something that I've said again and again and again. And those are the things that we got wrong when we were in government. Immigration, the tax burden being too high, and the answers that we were given were, oh, we need immigration for growth, or we need to raise taxes to pay for public services. And that's why I've said that we need to rewire the state.
But when will we get solid policies from Kemi Badenoch on these issues? Are we going to have to wait for the manifesto in 2029?
But we've already seen some policies. We've come out with policies on immigration. Every day, people say, when are we going to see the policies? The policies are there, more will come. We've talked about the tax burden being too high. How we fix it? We may have to change all of the taxes in the country. We may have to look at a few. But that needs real thinking, getting real economic experts, and then showing are working. It's not just, well, we're going to do this and we'll work it out later. That is how the country got itself into the mess that it's in, by announcements without plans. And that's not what Conservatives do.
Fair enough. Kemi Badenoch, thank you for coming into the studio today. We need to leave it there.